We're going to put these fret wires in. Now, before you put these in, you got to make sure that this is flat and smooth. So you're going to go over it with the 500 grit. Remember, I already went over mine with an 80, a 120, okay, a 220, and a 500. The 500 is going to really bring out that smooth gloss into the wood. You want to make sure it's flat, okay? If it's not flat, if you got big spaces or anything, that's going to affect how your guitar plays. So this is pretty flat. You don't see no light under there, okay? So once that's done, first thing you got to do is we're going to be putting these little wires in. So we have to clean this out really good. Now, sometimes people didn't cut down deep enough into this. So this, you got to make sure this is going to go all the way in. All right, all the way down in and flat. So this little cut has to make sure that that cut's deep enough. I usually like it to be about 1/8 of an inch deep. All right, that little groove, about 1/8 of an inch deep. Now, I know mines are good because I've checked them, but if yours are not, if you have a very shallow groove, you might want to go through. Now, you want to be careful. If your groove is too shallow, you might want to take the dovetail saw, okay, and you want to make sure you put it in that groove because you don't want to damage your fretboard. And you just might want to make that a little deeper if you need to. Because if it's not deep enough, then this is not going to set in right. Okay, and I already know mine's deep enough. Now, before you put these in, I'm strongly suggesting you take a little air and we blow out all that dust. Pull that back, and push this in, and then push this forward. Okay, and you want to blow all these grooves out. Make sure there's no dust in those grooves. Okay, then we'll take it off. Just push this back, comes right off. And I'll leave this on my desk. Come on, they're a little too long, so we're going to address that later. Now we're going to use Gorilla Glue, Super Gorilla Glue, to put these in. Now I could put this in without it, and it will sit in there, and you want to use a little, and a lot of times if it can damage the wood, but you want to kind of set these in so they're flat. But I could pull this out eventually. It's tough, but I could pull it out. Okay, so we want to just set them in just a little bit better. I usually take 3 little drops of glue. 1 here, and we don't want to make a mess out of it. 1 here, and then 1 on the end. Okay, then you're just going to take this, and if you could get me a paper towel, somebody, just a paper towel. All right, you don't want to hit this with your hammer. You want to use a little block of wood. All right, I made one side even. This side will cut off later on. We'll use a side cutter and we'll cut that off when it's dry. We don't want to do that now. Okay, after this is set in, just take a little bit of paper towel and just clean up some of that glue that was a little excess. Then do the next one, and then I'll stop from here. Okay, we're going to put a drop of super glue here, here, and here, just in 3 spots. You don't need to put it across the whole thing. Okay, set it even here. I like to make one side even. Use a piece of wood so we don't damage it. All right, and clean it up here. Okay, so I'm going to keep going through until I get to the end. Okay, we're going to trim these so they're not sticking out anymore. I already trimmed a few of them. We start out with a side cutter. Okay, and it's good to work over the garbage just because it's going to shoot in there. Okay. Trim all these. You got to use power. Now, when you cut these, don't twist the fret. You'll pull it out. Okay, you want to just kind of use your power and just kind of trim them so they're more even. Looks like I trimmed that one already. Okay, and then trim. Okay, so those are trimmed. Okay, after that's done, we're going to take it on a power sander. It's just easier. And then we're going to clean these up. I don't want to damage the top of my fretboard, and I'm going to go try to get it a little closer. Without damaging the fretboard. Being real easy on it. is real easy. And when you slide your hand across, it's not going to hurt you. All right, so you get the idea. After that's all done, I'll go through all those. Then I'm going to take a file. I'm going to use a metal file. Okay. And you're going to just kind of just clean it up, making sure nothing's sticking out. And you want about a 45-degree angle on this, on these frets. Okay, so when I slide my hand across it, it's not going to hurt me in any way. Okay, so that's a start. Now these frets, no matter how hard I try, they still feel a little sharp. Because when you play this, you're going to be moving your fingers around this fret. Okay, across it. So what you want to do is you want to get a metal file. Okay, and this is a triangle file. Now, what I did to this file, I modified it. So you got to look at the file close. There's going to be a little round edge on it. Okay, what I did is I took it to the power sander and I filed off where it's going to file. So I took this triangle file, and what I did is I rounded off that point. Okay, with the power sander, so it's a little smooth there. Right here, we'll dig into the wood. So you got to look for that little shiny spot. You'll see it's flat. Okay, and you got to dress every one of these, and it's only going to take a few passes. Right where it's sharp on the edge. You could zoom in close on this. All right, I'm going to just go maybe 3 times for each one, 2, whatever it takes, and then do the other side. And I'm not pushing down on this. All right, it's not going to damage the wood. All I am is cleaning up that hard edge right there. All right, you want to dress all these frets, just like this. Some will take a couple times, some may need a little bit more. Okay, you see how I do this? I'm just kind of, I'm not pushing hard. I'm not pushing hard down. I'm just getting a little pressure on the side of it. All right, and you're going to do all these frets so there's no sharp edges. Because some of the guitars that I've checked already, my fingers would be bleeding the time I got done playing that guitar. All right, you don't want that sharp edge. Okay, so that's how you do it. Just go through all of them. It's not going to take long, and you'll see such a big difference.